Who should trade for Brandon Aiyuk? Drop it in the chat below. Let's talk about this thumbnail. Let's talk about my intro to the show. He goes on a video, Smitty, and basically says this. Take a listen. I don't know if you saw the video with Brandon Aiyuk, but take a look.
What happened, bro?
They said they don't want me back. I swear.
Oh my.
You know, Aiyuk's been doing little things all offseason. I remember months ago he did something where he like posted in his IG story. It was like a whole bunch of emojis or something that basically, if you read between the lines, it was basically like shut up and pay me. Basically, it was what it said. If my memory serves me correctly. So he's been doing these little immature kind of games all offseason. It's funny for us, but from an actual a business standpoint, if I'm in the 49ers organization, I'm like, all right, bro, like this is getting old. And I kind of think the Niners are preparing to move on from him. I mean, they drafted I can't remember his name right now, but they drafted a receiver early in this year's draft. So, you know, I feel like they're kind of making their mind up that they're going to pay Debo, keep him as like their main guy, kind of take this young rookie receiver that they drafted and get him kind of built up and moving along. Ricky Pearsall from Florida. Thank you, Bailey. They got still got George Kittle. They just paid CMC. They got to pay Brock Purdy next year. They understand that they can't pay two big time receivers. So like I think the writing's on the wall. Either it's going to be this like before the season starts, which is what I believe, or worst case scenario, this would be Aiyuk's final season in a 49er jersey. So you ask where will he be playing next year, man? So many good options right there. Obviously, he's talking to Jaden Daniels, his former college quarterback. I don't know if he wants to go to Washington though. You know, I don't know. I mean, I understand they have a connection and things like that, but Jay's gonna be a rookie, and you know, we all know as rookies you got to go through the, you know, kind of the battles, the hurdles, the ups and downs. So I don't know if him going to Washington will truly make him happy. But then again, it sounds like right now Aiyuk only cares about getting that money. Maybe he doesn't care about his stats and everything else. So that's a hell of a question, JB. I'd love to hear where your mind is at on this.
Latrell be defending all the players. I can tell right now, Latrell, I know how Latrell is, so he's a high character guy, but I bet you he'd be coaching and he'd be listening to his players like a motherfucker. Latrell, Coach Flowers, no, I ain't running that slant. Or, okay, son, you can run an out route. The quarterback will just throw a pick. It's okay. Latrell's a player like Latrell wants to be player-driven like a motherfucker. First of all, Brandon Aiyuk's done nothing, Latrell.
Well, I ain't gonna say all that.
Show me that he's a fucking top-tier, big-time wide receiver, number one. Number two, it's a business. This is a business.
That's
number
the
three,
main thing.
They have Deebo Samuel. They got Deebo and they got Aiyuk, by the way.
Yep.
But what does JB know? Because on this show months ago, I am the one that said, you know what? Both of those dudes are a product of their systems. I said both of those dudes are either one of them are true number one receivers. I told you both of them are utility type of guys that are movable guys in a system that allows them to have freedom and range in what they do. Debo's the guy that can go from the backfield to the slot to catch a reverse, to throw a double pass. Aiyuk is a guy that's on the outside and moves in the slot. He's not some guy we throw back shoulder fades to. He's not the big body, long guy I throw it to the back cone on. The 49ers don't have that guy. His name is Jennings, and he's a mid at best type of long receiver. They have Kittle, they have CMC, and they move Aiyuk and Deebo around in a system that is conducive to Brock Purdy and what the Niners do with Mike Shanahan. Either one of those receivers are true number ones. I'll argue anybody in this goddamn chat all day long. All you 49er fans, all you player empowerment fucks, they're not the guys you think they are. They're not. They are really good complementary pieces to a great O-line running game and a tight end named Kittle. They're not the go-to guy. If they were, Smitty, I wouldn't have to devise a system to get Deebo the ball in so many different ways. I wouldn't have to devise a system to isolate Brandon Aiyuk on the slot on a safety because I know he's not going to be the number one corner all day long. So take it from your boy on this. These two guys are obviously very interchangeable and very tradable.
But don't you think that system also is because of the quarterback play, though? or lack thereof.
That's my point.
So it's not all on Aiyuk and Debo. It's also because the quarterback's abilities that they've had, whether it's Jimmy G
That's
or
my point.
Brock or.
That's my point.
Okay, cool.
That's why they have the system that moves these two guys around. They don't have Smitty. If they were that good and the quarterback was that guy, they'd be lining up at receiver, homie, and just throwing me the ball one-on-one in every possible situation.
I guess what I'm saying is we don't know about Aiyuk because I talk to guys too, man, and they're like, man, from a route running ability, from a toughness ability, Aiyuk has it more. A lot of people say Aiyuk has it more than Debo. Debo, okay. Most people agree, he's more of an actual.
Let me dive into that. Let me dive into this topic though.
Yeah, let's do it.
Aiyuk could be a great route runner, but he's not a Cooper Kupp. He's not a long body receiver. He's not a Nakua. He's not an outside guy that I can isolate on a number one corner and eat. Go show me film that Aiyuk is cooking number one corners out here in the NFL.
But could he be a CeeDee Lamb?
Hold on, though. Let's talk about a schematical thing here.
Yep.
If you go watch their film, which I have a shitload of 49er film, and we can pull it up any day. If I have Brandon Aiyuk on this film and Debo, go watch the film. Go see what they do. And Latrell, if you're going to bring up blocking, if you're really going to bring up blocking by a number one receiver, homie, then you know you've lost this argument already. Stop it. Stop it, dog. Then go get a number two tight end, Latrell. What the fuck are we talking about, homie? You're really going to pay this guy because he's a blocker? What? Homie, if you're going to go to blocking, you know you've lost it. Dog, this argument's unwinnable. I'm on fire today. It is what it is. I'm not losing this argument. It is what it is. Brandon Aiyuk, go show me where he's cooking a corner out on the edge on the perimeter one-on-one. And I'll wait for you because he doesn't. They manipulate the system by moving Debo, Kittle. If you watch how many wide trades they run, give me a fucking board, man. I don't have my board here. They run wide trades, Smitty. So guess what it does? It dictates the safety rotation. Guess what that does? Then they'll motion, if you haven't noticed, CMC out the backfield. So guess what that does? Now it puts a safety or a corner on CMC because he's such a great receiver as a back. Then guess what they do? Then they'll fuck around and run reverse to Deebo Samuel, and he'll throw the ball to Aiyuk. They run all this shit.
What you're saying is correct, but it's almost like Aiyuk's getting punished because of Shanahan's creative offensive system. And it's like, damn, like to me, that would make me want to leave even more so I can prove myself that, hey, I am more than just a system. I am more than what you guys are thinking.
That's the thing. It's not a punishment. It is an indictment to tell you that, listen, we're okay with losing you. You're a replaceable commodity on this.
I hear you.
In this system, Smitty. In this system, I can use anybody at these spots. That's just why do you think that Deebo Samuels is also up in trade rumors? By the way, that hasn't gone away. He's still in trade rumorville. Still in trade
I thought those kind of went away. I know last year was more up in the air, like more in the serious conversation. I didn't know it was still heavily in the air right now. Listen, man, I get it. With Shanahan's system, it's a plug and play type system. But at the same time, though, I don't believe everybody can do what Deebo Samuel does. I think that's a little stretch. I don't think everybody can just go out there and do what Brandon Aiyuk does. You look at Aiyuk's numbers, man. I know you don't care about numbers, but they're still important. They still play a role. Since he's been in the league in 2020, every single year he's gotten better. Literally every single year. He goes from 748 yards to 826 to over 1,000. He had 1,015 yards in 2022. And then last year had over 1,300 yards and 7 touchdowns. Like every single year, the man has been improving and improving from his production, from his importance on his team, from his numbers. Like he has earned a contract extension. It's not like he's out here just asking for I don't know what he's asking for.
You can't pay him.
He doesn't deserve top of the market.
How many guys you gonna pay, Smitty?
Strong extension.
How many guys you think they can pay on a roster? You do know that Brock Purdy's going to get paid next year, right?
No, for sure.
Well, how many? This is my whole point, dog. You guys don't listen. Not you, but everybody out here is not really paying attention. They are already having to pay a bunch of different people and pieces. They just paid CMC. They got to repay Debo. They got to pay Kittle. Now they got to re-sign Purdy. And they just signed their left tackle. So guess what? How are they going to sign these mid-major tweener receivers? They don't need to, Smitty. They can go get a T. Higgins. in a year. Let's just say he stays with the Bengals this year, and then after this year, we know T. Higgins is gone because he's going to play for the Bengals this year, in my opinion. And
I think didn't T. Higgins sign?
T. Higgins will be gone, huh? No, T. Higgins not, but T. Higgins yesterday.
No, T. Higgins he re-signed 1 year deal with the Bengals yesterday.
1 year deal. That's what I'm saying. He's already said, I'm content. I'm going to stay 1 more year. And then, he's gone after that because the negotiations ceased in Cincinnati. So he said, fuck it. I want to go with Burrow and Chase 1 more time. I'll get out and then I'll leave and enter the market. They can go get guys like that, dog. Aiyuk is an expendable commodity. He is very expendable.
They're going to have to pay T. Higgins too, though. So that defeats the purpose.
Well, I'm just throwing out names like there's receivers out there.
I mean, that's why they drafted Ricky Pearsall, honestly, because he's a guy who's talented, who, like you just said, in their system, you don't need a superstar receiver necessarily. It's a guy who can do the basics, who can learn the system, and he's in a rookie deal, so you're saving a ton of money.
But Smitty, be honest. If you keep Aiyuk, you have to sign him to a max.
Right.
You got to let him go and you bring in a new body. You know damn well you don't sign that new body to a max. It's not like you're getting Devontae Adams or something. Aiyuk, if he stays, is demanding the max, and the Niners know that's what they'd have to pay him. They're saying, listen, we can't pay you this max. You're going to go elsewhere. We'll bring another guy in as a new first-year guy for the Niners, whether it's T. Higgins, whatever. They're not going to pay him as much as they'd have to pay Aiyuk. That's my point. They're going to get away with bringing another guy in and paying that guy much less. So I'm just saying.
I don't know, man, because he receivers, man, the market. Like, for example, Nico Collins just got 3 years, 72 mil or something like that after having 1 good season. Let's keep calling what it is. 1 good season, 3 years, 72 mil. So if I'm Brandon Aiyuk, I'm like, bro, I didn't play 2 Super Bowls, contributed to our success. I didn't got better every single year. I've really had a really pretty good overall career, but the last 2 seasons I've had have been incredible. You giving Nico Collins 3 years, saying $2 million, I'm damn sure about to get something. And if it ain't from the 49ers, cool. It's gonna be somewhere else. T. Higgins gonna think the same thing. T. Higgins has, played the Super Bowl, has had consistent success year in and year out. They're seeing these other receivers. I'm on Rod St. Brown, who's a good, a good receiver, whatever as well. But they're seeing these guys who are kind of, I would say middle of the pack, like not middle of the pack, but like middle tier, not superstar receivers like Justin Jefferson, but like really good receivers. They're getting paid. They're getting extensions. So if I'm T. Higgins, I'm like, bro,
this all goes back.
I'd be stupid to stay here and not get my money.
But look, dog, this all goes back to the player empowerment shit that I discuss every day. Like, we got to understand, not everybody is ones. They're not ones, dog. T. Higgins, you're not a 1. Brandon Aiyuk, you're not a 1. I'm sorry to break it down to you. There's not that many fucking 1s, homie, floating around. But guess what, Smitty? Fair point. The market has created everybody to think they're 1s. Let's just be honest, Smitty. If you and I are playing receiver in the NFL right now, we're expecting a huge bag because everybody's getting 1 right now. But not everybody are true number 1 receivers. Let's just be honest. We all think we're 1 receivers, dog. And now that the market's set so high, the bar's been set so high, everybody feels they're going to get paid. They're not number 1s. And I told you on this show for the last 4 years, this will bite you in the ass eventually. And just look in the last 2 years, the salary cap has increased instrumentally over the last just 2 years in the NFL because they're trying to keep up with having to not lose major pieces on these big-time franchises that make the NFL billions of dollars, such as the Cowboys, the Niners, the Eagles, the Chiefs. Guess why their rosters seem to be a little more heavy-driven than the rest of the teams that are in softer media markets? Because that's what makes the NFL money. And this is why the salary caps get driven up. And I'm just telling y'all, you don't listen. You think that you know more than me. There isn't that many true 1 receivers. Aiyuk is not a 1, but he thinks he is because the salary cap is increased and the market's been driven up. He's not a 1. T. Higgins is not a 1. And Smitty, if you're scratching your neck thinking these guys are
that was a real scratch. That was a real scratch.
But I'm saying though, just I'm glad you did it though. everybody's out there thinking they're scratching their neck, thinking they're number ones and why they're not getting paid. This is my point. Dog, then how many ones do you think there really are out there? How many true one receivers you really think there are out there? And then guess what's going to happen? CMC just now drove the market back up a little bit for the running back position. Yep. Guess what? He's a utility back, at the epitome of a utility back. He can play everything. He's Marshall Faulk in a white body in this era.
Right.
So he can do more than most backs. 99% of other backs he can do more than. So guess what? He got a bigger bag. Now you're going to get these mid-ass running backs thinking they deserve CMC money. But I've been telling y'all for 3 years, when you set the bar like this, you're going to get a high expectation from a lot of mid players. And I'm not going to call any NFL player mid. They're in the NFL. But I'm just saying, as far as the pecking order of things in the league, there are going to be guys that aren't established as a CMC or as a Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson or Devontae Adams, but they'll think they are and deserve that same dollar.
Last thing real quick, I know we got to move on to our next topic. But I'm not even sure how much Aiyuk or T. Higgins some of these cats are trying to get. But if you look at like the highest paid receivers in the league right now is Justin Jefferson at 35 mil, AJ Brown 32, Amon-Ra at a little over 30, Tyreek Hill right at 30. Like these are some of the top guys. Devontae Adams at 28, Jalen Waddle 28.25. I don't even think that Aiyuk or Higgins, these guys are necessarily trying to get to that point. There are number twos on here who are still getting paid a lot of money. For example, Devontae Smith is the clear number 2 on this team. I just mentioned that A.J. Brown, his counterpart, is getting paid $32 million. He's the one on the Eagles. But Devontae Smith is the 8th highest paid guy in the league, receiver in the league, getting paid $25 million. Aiyuk's going into his final year of his rookie deal, whatever. He's making $14 million. So all I'm saying is this. You got Debo getting paid. Where's Debo? He's getting paid like 23, I think, a year. If you could put Aiyuk around the 20 number, 21, 22, if you could just meet him around that number, I think you could at least have a conversation. I don't think these guys are trying to reset the market and become the number one highest receiver in the NFL.
Listen.
But I understand the Niners can't do it. I'm just saying, all I'm saying is, say this. I understand from Aiyuk's perspective on why he would want to either A, force the Niners' hand to pay him, and then B, if they can't, go ahead and trade me, because at the end of the day, I got to get paid. Like, yeah, we love the game, we want to win, but this is a business on both sides. We always call it a business when the teams are making certain decisions, right? But when the players make a decision for them better themselves to help their pockets out, we call it something else. It has to be a business on both sides.
Smitty, see, that's why you're the yin to my yang. Here's the thing. People don't want to realize. Aiyuk's going on 27 years old. Nico Collins has just turned 25, number one. Number two, Aiyuk is a JUCO player with extra added miles on his frame. Then he goes to Arizona State. Then he goes to the league. There are guys out there that they'll say have less traveled miles for less money and can play in this system, Smitty. This system. Let's not talk about there's a reason why they're letting him go. You can suck your teeth all you want. The fact is, homie, they're going to let him go.
You want the mileage. He's in his rookie deal. This man ain't that old. He went to JUCO, okay? You know how many guys went to JUCO and then who's in the league right now who's getting paid? Tyreek went to JUCO. Your guy, Jermaine Johnson, went to JUCO. Tank Dell, if he has a good year in sales, he's going to get paid. He went to JUCO.
My point is they're not this old. He's going to be 27. Nico just turned 25. There's a 2-year difference. It does matter. Like, this guy has a 2-year gap on Nico. You guys are – the only reason I'm bringing this up, Smitty, because they in the chat and everybody's talking about the comparison of Nico, which you said got paid, and Aiyuk. There's a 2-year difference in age.
There's also 2 years of better seasons and 2 years of experience in Super Bowls, and Aiyuk has been healthy. And, like, I hear you, age is, I guess, a factor, but Aiyuk hasn't shown that he's injury prone. He hasn't shown, and he goes out there every season and balls, man. System or not. At the end of the day, I can't control what system I'm in. Only thing I can do is play to my best ability within that system. And he has done that year in and year out. I understand that Niners can't afford him, but if I'm Aiyuk, somebody can't afford me.
I'm going to dive in, but let me dive in. Let me explain this to Latrell and everybody out there. You can't not sit up here and compare Nico Collins to Brandon Aiyuk and talk about somebody's better than the other one. First of all, Brandon Aiyuk doesn't fit a Houston Texans system with C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud's a big arm, long arm, comeback throwing, post bang eight, dig route guy. compared to Brock Purdy, who is check down master and an occasional dig route over the middle with movable parts and a system that's very, very interchangeable. Brandon Aiyuk doesn't fit the Texans, just like Nico doesn't fit the Niners. So we cannot compare these guys to each other. They're completely different, holy shit different receivers in completely different systems. One's a drop back system. One is an RPO play action and boot naked system. There are completely different systems. Don't compare the two because they would be totally different in each other's system. So this is why it's almost laughable to compare these receivers nowadays. There is a reason they drafted the white kid Purcell and willing to give this dude up, Smitty. They did not give up Nico Collins, and they also, remember, just signed Diggs for a one-year deal with Tank Dell returning and his healthy Mitchie. So they must believe in that guy. So that's my point. It's a completely different system. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. This is not, you can't compare these two receivers. They're completely different.